Dude, when I was waiting tables, when people snapped at me, I was like, I'm going to poop in your taco.
I can't believe... Good choice, first off. Second off, I can't believe people would fucking snap.
They would snap at me. Sometimes famous people. Because I was waiting tables down in Fairfax at this place called Tart that used to be a fucking whorehouse. And it was converted into a hotel restaurant. And I was like... And we had shirts, and it was Tart. Because, like, whores...
I guess.
Which is like gauche as fuck. And like a server gal on front. And then in the back, it said, cooking is the oldest profession. And I'm like, you really messed up that phrasing. You really messed up that expression. Like, it's not. Fucking's the oldest profession.
Right.
And the dude who was managing when I worked there, well, he ended up getting fired. But he was like Clint Eastwood's fucking nephew or something. And did not understand anything.
Wait, like how the business ran?
How the business ran. And I walked up to, when we got these new work shirts. Because before it was just like, hey, wear a button up. And then... we got these shirts with the gal on front and the shit on the back, and I was like, you know this is wrong, right? And he's like, well, why? And I'm like, well, first, we're just like prostitutes. And secondly, cooking is not the oldest profession.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, what is? And I'm like, fucking people! And he didn't get it at all.
Oh my god.
Even when I gave him, like, proof.
How'd you prove that?
Google!
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you, like, fucking Mr. Sherman'd him into a time machine. Come along now.
No, I just showed him the Bible. I'm like, look, people have been fucking for a long time. People were fucking for money before we could cook pork. You know, that's one of the reasons, like... No, this is really interesting. One of the reasons that, like, pork is evil in certain Judeo-Christian religions is because we just, like... as humans, living in the desert, you didn't have any wood, so you couldn't heat up pork enough to cook it so you wouldn't get sick. So people would eat it and then immediately get sick because it wasn't cooked all the way through. And they were like, oh shit, I guess this sky god wants me to not eat pork.
This meat's evil.
Yeah, this meat is not for me to eat. It's just because we didn't have the wood. And now we have wood, and now we have bacon, and Sky God.
Well done. Welcome to Inbetween.
Okay, we have shit to talk about. So, our buddy Squat here is reading The Name of the Wind for the first time.
I am.
Holy shit. Isn't it majestic?
It's fantastic, man.
And are you doing, like... Just the audiobook?
It's just the audiobook.
Okay.
Yeah, I listen to it
you've
on
got
my
a hell of a
commute.
commute. Like, you've got an hour-long drive to work.
Whenever traffic's bad, it's like an hour 10 sometimes.
Jesus
it's
Christ.
Bad. But, yeah, I got this...
How far are you?
I am in chapter 22. First of all, if you haven't read the book, go read it for yourself. I'll try not to, like,
read this
spoil
book.
shit.
It's the fucking best book in the world. So, okay, before you go into, like, where you're at and all that, I want to talk about my personal...
Yeah.
relationship with this
Absolutely.
book. So I moved to Los Angeles in 2010 with, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go. Like I had almost nothing.
Right.
And I was gonna have a roommate, but she was gonna be a month late. Like she was coming a month later. And I posted on Facebook. I was like, hey, I'm gonna move to LA. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for the memories. Fall Out Boy. And then, like, 2 days later, my best friend Peter Shire shows up at my place, and he's like, what are you doing? And was like, why are you here? You live in Boston. And he's like, yeah, you posted on Facebook that you were moving to LA, so I came down to help you move. I was like, why? He's like, you helped me move to Atlanta years ago, so are we doing this shit or not? I was like, fuck, yeah, let's fucking do this shit. So I packed up my Hyundai Sonata. Let's get some fucking product placement in this bitch. Can we get some money for this or something? But I couldn't bring any books. So we got to LA. We went down to, it was Ventura and Laurel Canyon Boulevard.
Okay.
To that bookstore. It was this old movie theater converted into a Barnes & Noble.
Oh, cool.
And he bought me Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. And like the day before he left. So I didn't really get to read it.
Yeah.
And I read a little bit in the car at one point because we were in San Francisco. That's another fucking story. And so he left. And I'm in a city completely alone with just what I could fit in my car with no one.
Right.
Alone with nobody, right? It was so, like, I was sitting on, I'd sit on my floor reading this book. At one point, I got a knock on my door by the apartment manager, Shelby, and she's like, hey, are you okay? I was like, yeah, why? She's like, I was walking in and I saw you, and do you have furniture? I was like, no. I just bought a bed yesterday. And she's like, someone threw away an office chair. It's like just on the side of the dumpster. Do you want it? I was like, yeah, that'd be great. I'd love a chair. And it's this chair. It's this chair.
The one you're sitting in.
Yeah. And I had all hardwood floors, so I was like just kicking around and sliding and rolling. But she was so sad. And I'm sitting there, and that night I finished the book. And I was like, holy shit. And I like wept when I finished it. And I read it. And then it took like 5 minutes to compose myself, and then just started it again. It was amazing. So
but then, like, the rest of your books never showed up, so that was the only book you had.
Yeah.
When
my roommate came, she didn't bring any of my books or any of my stuff. She brought one box of mugs that my mother bought for me. Mm. And I already had too many mugs. Okay, so you're at what part? What just happened?
Spoilers. Everybody just died.
Oh, the Chandrain.
Yep.
The Chandrain.
So I just finally met the Chandrian, and
how do you pronounce it?
He pronounces it Chandrian.
But with the poem in the book, it doesn't rhyme. Like, there's that poem in the book, and Chandrain rhymes with the line before.
Oh, okay.
So I say Chandrain.
Right. I'm sure if I read it, I'd pronounce
it
differently.
Cinder and shit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, what did you think about Obenthi?
Oh, I love him.
Oh, I loved
him. Absolutely.
I loved that.
And, like, I was worried that they were going to kill him off, right? He's the Obi-Wan, right? Like, he's training this kid who's going to become an awesome guy, an awesome, I don't know if I want to call him a magician, but an arcanist, right? And I'm like, he's going to fucking die. And they get to a town, and he parties his ass off, gets married to, like, a brewer's wife that's lost her husband, and he makes the best brew that they've ever tasted. And it's like...
And he's like...
What an awesome...
I fucking found my end.
Yeah.
And this is a cool thing about this book, is like some characters, they get their happy end. Kvothe doesn't.
I'm assuming so.
Well, it starts off in that... like, and this is such a cool book because it goes from first person to third person. Mm-hmm.
I love that.
With the chronicler.
Yeah.
And when he's in the bar and he's like... He's coat for so long.
Yeah.
And
I love that...
the first time when he says his name again, it's like his life comes back. And you see this kind of dopey dude who runs an inn. Mm-hmm. And then when he sits down, and he's like, I'm going to need 3 days to tell my story. And he says, I've been with Florian, who, oh my god, you're gonna have a blast. I've killed kings and oh shit. And he says, my name's Quoth. I was like, hell yes, let's do this, motherfucker.
Well, so a couple things.
Yeah.
First of all, when they introduced him as the bartender, or the barkeep, I didn't know that he was going to be the main character, right? Because it's just like, it's like 3 or 4 dudes sitting in a bar telling a story, and I was like, all right, so these kids are important. Mm-hmm. I'm like learning their names, and then
they're telling the story of Tamberlin the Great.
Yeah, mm-hmm. and and then it switches over to the man named Coat, and that's how you would always say it. The man named Coat said this. The man, or the man that called himself Coat said this. Blah blah blah. And I was like, well, this is, he's obviously important. He's got another name, right? Mm-hmm. And the names are super important, obviously. And then the other thing is the third to first person switch. I was actually talking to Snips about this. Mm-hmm. So when I read books that are in first person, it's actually harder for me to get into it. Right. Because
if you don't identify with the main character, it's a little bit more difficult to like read it in your voice, right?
I think so. It to me, whenever it's like, I did this, then I said this, then I went down the street and whatever. Mm-hmm. It's like the book is telling it to someone, but fictionally, there's no one they're telling it to. You are the person they're telling it to, and so there's like this weird break for me. Like, I can't really get into them as much.
So, have you ever read the Dresden Files?
Yeah, I've read the Dresden Files. I actually loved them. They were great.
Yeah, me too. I love those books. They're fucking fantastic.
I don't know. There's just a weird. I don't know what it
like
is.
Like a weird
I'm not sure
kind of disconnect.
Yeah, there's a disconnect of like, who are you talking to? Oh, you're talking to me, but at the end of the book, you're dead. So who,
but like,
how are you telling your story?
Exactly,
that type of stuff.
Is this a journal? Is it like an interview? Yeah.
So in this, there's the chronicler.
Yeah.
So the book starts off in third person, he, they, she, all that, right? Then the chronicler shows up, who's this grand storyteller that like takes down historical stories and like tracks things down, and as far as I understand, like he chronicles things, the world. He tracks down legends.
He essentially gave up his name to become the chronicler. Like,
right.
That became his defining characteristic. So much so that it became his identity.
So he tracks
which is another name that was changed, and this will be very important to you later.
What was?
Names.
Names were?
Yeah, names are very important.
Oh no, yeah, I know names are. I didn't
God,
catch what you meant.
I just want you to fucking meet Eldon so bad.
When I finish it, we'll talk again for sure. But anyway, the first to third person switch. So chronicler tracks down Quoth, and then he's like writing his life story, and Quoth is speaking in the first person, and it fucking makes sense because he's telling his story to another person in the bar.
As this like Adamaru, these kind of like gypsy wanderer storytellers,
right?
Who that's what their entire history is based on: the spoken word, the story of whatever, the story of their lives, the story of you have Tamberlin the Great, you have. In the second book, the boy who has a golden screw in his belly button. Fantastic shit. Oh, that's a fantastic story. You're gonna fucking love it.
The characters are great, and at first I was like, all right, where's this going? Mm-hmm. And then I kept asking that. So it was kind of like a slow start, but the thing I kept telling Snips, I was like, nothing's happened. But everything's really interesting. Like, the world that they're talking about, the people that they're talking about. And it's not like there's action, nothing's blowing up. We're just in a bar. And this guy's just, like, managing his life. Mm-hmm. But I want to know so much more about everything that's happening.
Rothfuss is, in a way, I think, peerless at world building. He's incredible at building this environment, this world. He's fucking fantastic at it. It's stellar. Like, George R.R. Martin went on record and was like, this boy scares the fucking shit out of me.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because Rothfuss, the dude's a genius. And Name of the Wind was his first book.
What?
It was his first book.
Wow.
He's a fucking genius. And I had the very very great pleasure of meeting him, and he's one of the nicest men in the world.
Yeah, he helped you like pull a prank, right?
Yeah, and like this dude is like, in my mind, about 7.5 feet tall, giant like Viking beard like yours, unruly hair, and he started off the book signing I went to with a sing along. We all sang "You Are My Sunshine," and I was like, that's the kind of fucking shit that I want from a hero of mine, you know. And it was so cool because I got up, I eventually got to meet him, and tell him that, you know, Kvothe was my first friend in Los Angeles because I was totally alone here.
Right.
And I was like, you know, I moved down here, I had nothing, and I had one chair, and no friends and no books. But Kvothe was my first friend in Los Angeles, so I want to thank you for that. And he was like, oh my God. And he gave me a hug. It was fucking amazing. Oh, God.
Yeah, the book was your mandolin.
Yeah, it fucking is.
Yeah, right?
It's the loot, dude. It's the loot.
The loot, right?
Yeah, I know what you meant.
Yeah.
I know what you meant. This is the longest in between.
Yeah, we're getting long, so we gotta cut it off. But anyway, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Go read Name of the Wind. It's fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll, I don't know, throw up a fucking link to Patrick Rothfuss because he's a genius and amazing, and I love him.
Cool. See you guys in the next episode.
Later. See you topside.